Are you ready for some stellar news? March is definitely a rather lackluster month visually, so all the more reason to look up or track down some pretty star candy on the internet. This is a very lovely chart that would make a great poster. Say hello to the Hertzsprung Russell diagram. I am sharing this diagram under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 2.5 generic license. The author is Richard Powell, currently living in Great Britain. Richard has 2 degrees in astrophysics and seems like a really fun guy since his email is singinglemon@earthling.net. So what is this diagram about? It is a scatter plot of luminosity, absolute magnitude, against the color of stars ranging from the high-temperature blue-white stars on the left side of the diagram to the low-temperature red stars on the right side. 22,000 stars from the Hipparchus catalog, together with 1,000 low-luminosity stars, red and white dwarfs, from the Gliese catalog of nearby stars, has been plotted. It is also sometimes called a color magnitude diagram. The diagram was created independently in 1911 by Ejnar Hertzsprung and by Henry Norris Russell in 1913, and represented a major step towards an understanding of stellar evolution. The distinctive and continuous band of stars on the diagram are known as the main sequence. While I was delving further into the main sequence, this explanation popped up. But really, what is a main sequence star? Briefly, main sequence stars are dwarf stars of low luminosity and are the most numerous true stars in the universe. Our Sun is a yellow dwarf, main sequence star. And here's where I'm going to toss out a big hint to our crew of people in the St. John Astronomy Club who give talks. There is so much more to this diagram that it deserves a talk of its own. Main sequence stars are truly the most common of stars in our universe. In the 249 stars that can be seen within the boundaries of the constellation Draco, and that have been classified in the MK system for luminosity, more than 72 have the classification of Roman numeral 5, which means main sequence dwarf. Within Draco is also the famous Cat's Eye Nebula, and a new and different view of it was just released on March 3, 2026. This is from the ESA's Euclid telescope. I wouldn't have guessed that it was NGC 6543. For once, the best news has been saved for the last. This. On a cloudy day this past January, historian Ivan Malara sat in Italy's National Central Library of Florence, poring over 7 different 16th century printings of the ancient world's most influential astronomy text. The pages belong to the Almagest, in which 2nd century polymath Claudius Ptolemy described his vision of an Earth-centered cosmos. As Malara flipped through the pages, he spotted something out of place. Someone had transcribed Psalm 145 on an otherwise blank page, in handwriting reminiscent of a very, very famous Tuscan astronomer. That book, Malara came to realize, had been extensively annotated by none other than Galileo Galilei. It's rare enough to link an entire new book to the textual record of Galileo. But the Almagest wasn't just any old book. If Galileo today is often praised for rejecting the authority of ancient wisdom and helping make it obsolete, the Almagest, whose description of a geocentric cosmos reigned over Western astronomy for 14 centuries, was that ancient wisdom incarnate. Here's a pic of Ivan himself. As Malara looked at the page scrawled with Psalm 145, he was immediately reminded of Galileo's handwriting. Eyeing more of the book's dense marginal notes, his suspicion grew. By 3 a.m. the following night, a sleepless Malara was convinced the notes were in the astronomer's hand. "Forgive the awkward hour," he wrote from his hotel room, dashing off an email to 2 of Italy's leading Galileo scholars, "but I can't believe my eyes." Galileo's notes, perhaps written around 1590, or roughly 2 decades before his groundbreaking telescope observations of the Moon and Jupiter, reveals someone who both revered and critically dissected Ptolemy's work. And they imply, Malara argues, that Galileo ultimately broke with Ptolemy's cosmos because his mastery of the traditional paradigm's reasoning convinced him that a heliocentric system would better fulfill Ptolemy's own mathematical logic. That interpretation contrasts with many historians' typical portrayal of Galileo as being motivated by philosophy or even political savvy, not careful math. Malara has always disagreed with that portrayal, and his discovery, described in a paper now under review at the Journal for the History of Astronomy, promises several new insights into one of the most famous ideological transitions in the history of science, the moment when Earth was thrust from the center of our universe. Although it's not likely to be an action film, somehow I keep picturing Tom Hanks, aka Robert Langdon from Angels and Demons, playing Ivan Giuseppe Malara, making this discovery and rocking the apple carts of many historians.